highlights channel of the Ranveer Show. This is TRS Clips. I think this is also a great point in the episode to speak about time. It's a fantastic subject, and that's what I love about ancient Indian scriptures. They talk about metaphysical realities in so much depth. I know for a fact that even the world of science has not truly understood what time is. It's just a convenient factor that they use in the equations of physics, but they've not truly understood what time is. So what have you understood about time?
In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, time I am, the destroyer of all the worlds. Of course, we know this has become popularized by Oppenheimer and is a big thing in the world today. Time is basically the force of nature that destroys everything. And this is basically what time is. In time, everything disappears. Our body disappears, our health disappears, our abilities disappear, our beauty disappears, our relationships disappear. In time, everything disappears. But the reason why time is there to destroy everything is to help us understand when everything is destroyed, what remains. And that thing which remains once everything else is destroyed is who we really are. And so the reason why time seemingly acts in such a cruel way in this world to take away everything is actually an exhibition of the greatest compassion of God. Because through the time factor, which takes away everything superficial, it helps us to realize who I actually am. What is actually eternal? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in one verse, Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. Of the material, there is no endurance, and of the spiritual, there is no cessation. And so time is the force which only acts in this material world, by the way. In the spiritual realm, in the transcendent abode, in the other world, there is no influence of the time factor. It only works in this world because it's working in this world to help us realize asato mad sadgama. Go from the temporary into the eternal.
I'm trying to connect all these things that you're saying with my own challenges, because that's the only way you can actually understand the Bhagavad Gita. Am I right in thinking like that?
Yes, of course, yeah.
That your life is the lab and the Bhagavad Gita is probably the lab manual.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So any attachment you feel, any wish you feel is actually just a checkpoint in your road to enlightenment. And every soul who's listening to this podcast, every soul that's ever existed is eventually going to reach that point of enlightenment at some point in their own soul's journey. Even the ones that say they don't believe in God, the ones who are completely against people like yourself, eventually they'll reach a point where they'll also become a version of you. Maybe not now, but maybe 4 lifetimes later. So will there be a point in the reality of time, say billions of years later, when the earth explodes and the sun has swallowed the earth, where all our souls would have gone up to another realm? That would happen, right?
After Krishna has spoken the entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Krishna says something mind-blowing. Iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram maya vimrashe tadasheshena yathechasi tathakuru. After Krishna has spoken the entire Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Krishna then looks at Arjuna and says, I've given you all the knowledge. Now you think about it, contemplate it, challenge it. Now you consider and reflect on everything I've said. Yata icha tathakuru. And then you do what you want to do. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there are 3 doers. The first doer is the soul, us. The second doer is the super soul, the super consciousness, divinity. And the third doer is material nature. So how does this work? Say, for example, this building. There was a person who decided there should be a building here. That person is likened to the soul. But then what did that person do? They went to the government to get permission. And the government granted planning permission for this building to come up. That's like the super soul or the super consciousness. And then the builders came in and they built the building. That's like material nature. So who built this building? We could say the person, or we could say the government, or we could say the material nature, or we could say it was a combination of all of them. So in this world, there are three doers. We can desire, but then the super soul has to sanction, and then material nature has to then facilitate. So the secret, the law of attraction, I'm just pivoting onto this point because I think manifestation is interesting. What would we say about the secret? I would say three things. There's truth to the secret, there's more to the secret, and there's a secret behind the secret. Number one, there's truth to the secret. Remember, we are one of the three doers. So there is a sense in which our consciousness creates reality. But there's more to the secret because we're not the only doer. There are another two doers who are involved. And the third thing I tell people is there's a secret behind the secret. Because even if you crack the technique of manifesting and attracting whatever you want, the secret behind the secret is you have to know what's worthwhile of being attracted. Because if you just try to attract material things, material achievements, material possessions, even though you will be manifesting what you want, you'll still remain unfulfilled because the secret behind the secret is to know what we're really seeking within the core of our hearts.
So these are playlists made especially for you. We've tailor-made learning experiences for you in DRS clips.